The government is facing increased pressure from unions to reconsider its decision to reduce the winter fuel allowance for most pensioners. This move has sparked concern among many Labour MPs and unions, with some officials expressing their struggles in supporting the policy. The issue is that the winter fuel allowance, which used to be a universal benefit for all pensioners, will now only be given to the poorest pensioners, those who qualify for pension credit. This has led to backlash from various groups, including unions and Labour MPs. The Trades Union Congress, which represents many unions, has voiced its opposition to the policy as it gathers for its annual conference in Brighton. Paul Nowak, the TUC's General Secretary, emphasised that pensioners should not have to worry about heating their homes during the cold winter months. He called on the government to find a solution, stating that the decision would place unnecessary stress on elderly individuals who are already struggling financially. Nowak urged the government, particularly the Chancellor, to take action in the upcoming budget to ensure that pensioners, whether they qualify for pension credit or not, are still able to heat their homes safely. He stressed that these pensioners may not be receiving benefits but are still far from being financially well off, and this policy puts them at risk. Sharon, the General Secretary of Unite, another major union, also criticised the government's decision. She called for a reversal of the policy and argued that instead of cutting benefits for pensioners, the government could explore other ways to address the budget deficit. One suggestion she made was to consider a wealth tax, which would target the richest members of society instead of pensioners who are already financially vulnerable. Labour leader Keir Starmer has acknowledged that the policy is unpopular but has called on Labour MPs to support it when it comes to a vote in the House of Commons. Despite his plea, there are reports that as many as 50 Labour backbenchers may abstain or not attend the vote at all. Some MPs believe the policy is too harsh on pensioners and are uncomfortable with backing it. Diana Johnson, a minister sent to represent the government's stance, defended the policy in interviews. She admitted that the decision is difficult and that many MPs, including herself, have received numerous complaints from their constituents. Johnson emphasised that while the policy is tough, the government is faced with challenging budget constraints and difficult decisions must be made. However, she acknowledged the widespread concerns, especially from MPs who are struggling to support the policy due to the impact it would have on elderly citizens. While few MPs are expected to openly oppose the government on this issue, there is a possibility that many will quietly abstain or avoid the vote altogether. The vote is expected to be contentious, with union leaders continuing to push for a U-turn on the decision, arguing that it's unfair to target pensioners who are already vulnerable during the winter months.